We're here when you need us.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
And a very pleasant Monday evening to everyone. Welcome into Miller Time along with Matt Crawford. I'm Matt Miller, and we are with you for the next 2 hours. We're taking you right up to 7 o'clock on this Monday evening, talking some local as well as regional and national sports. A lot of college and NFL football to talk about. Just a little bit of high school football. We talked a lot about it on Friday as the area teams played Thursday of last week, trying to get games in ahead of Hurricane Florence. Thankfully, we have not been affected nearly as much as what they were talking about last week, but it certainly affected teams in the state of West Virginia. As the Mountaineers and the Marshall Thundering Herd both ended up with an impromptu bye week.
I think WV will take it. They moved up in the AP polling this week.
It's always nice when you can move up and not play.
Yeah, get a game canceled and move up.
That's because of what happened to all of the teams around them, though. You know, because there were some upsets in college football, some pretty good games as well.
How about BYU beating Wisconsin? Who would have thought that?
I didn't see it. I mean, just look at our picks. What are you asking me for? Who would have seen that? My picks are terrible right now.
I do have a slight edge in the college football pick'ems.
I think this week we split.
Did we?
I think we did.
The only one I know for sure, I know that we both took Maryland.
What happened? What happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
We have to.
We do? Oh, so now you want to talk about the Terps when they lose. I see how it is.
No, that's not. Well, but we don't have the Mountaineers to talk about, so we have to talk a little bit.
Maryland has a game every year where I don't want to say it's a trap game because that implies you have to be semi-decent, because trap games are when really good teams fall to bad teams. And not taking anything away from Temple. They're a decent mid-major school.
But they were struggling. They were 0-2.
Yeah, Maryland should have won that game very easily. I mean, without a doubt, Maryland should have won that game. But Maryland, every year, to either a mid-major school or a team that is below them at the end of the year in the Big Ten, they find a way to just look stupid. And that's what they did against Temple. You and I were sitting at the Shepherd game on Saturday, and it was the same time kickoff. They were both 12 noon kickoffs. And I was getting updates on my phone. Russell Goodacre was sitting in front of us. He's a Terp fan as well. So we were getting updates on our phone, and you're sitting there going, all right, when do you get nervous? And I said, not till they were down by a couple scores against Bowling Green. So I'm not getting too nervous yet. Once the third quarter hits, and midway through the third quarter, they've allowed 28 points, and they're down 28-7. I went, all right, yeah, it's over. It was just one of those games where Maryland they have one every year.
Have you seen any of the highlights, or did you look at any of the statistics?
Maryland just couldn't get the offense going. The defense gave up big third downs, and the offense couldn't get anything going.
Sounds like the Redskins watched the Maryland game, because that was the exact same recipe of disaster for the Redskins yesterday.
Are you trying to get under my skin this early? We have a 2-hour show today. And you're trying to get under my skin this early?
I don't want to get under it this early, but I'm just trying to help. You know, you've got that boil that is needing to be lanced to get it out of you, because it has been such a difficult football weekend.
It was, for as good as the previous weekend was, that was a total winner's weekend, except for Shepherd. Although Shepherd had a bye.
They had a bye, so yeah.
It was the Redskins won, the Terps won. It was a good weekend. And then
the Mountaineers won.
The Mountaineers won. I'm sorry.
But that's
West Virginia won. And then this weekend, it was just one of those weekends. The Capitals lost their first preseason game in a shootout.
Yeah, it's a preseason game. Who cares?
Hockey's back.
It is.
It's getting there.
Well, I was going to say.
Middle of October.
Still too early. Nobody's paying any attention.
I was paying attention.
Okay,
I wasn't really paying. I got the update on my phone.
There you go.
No, I knew the preseason was starting.
Okay, so if you didn't have one of these little contraptions that could automatically shoot you messages to say, hey, here's what's going on, you wouldn't have paid a lick of attention to the Capitals.
Well, it's not that I wouldn't have paid attention. It's I probably wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been keeping up with the score on an NFL Sunday. Am I going to keep up? Am I going to listen to listen to John Walton broadcast a preseason hockey game? I don't even know if he does the preseason or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or if there's even radio broadcast for preseason hockey.
It's not offered to the affiliates that I'm aware of. Maybe select games as we get closer.
It is.
The preseason?
If you go on the Skyview Network, they have the calendar up.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if it's John Walton that does it for the Capitals, but they do offer them.
Okay.
But I'm not sure I would have listened to the game, but I would have read in the newspaper that they were playing and looked the next day to see what happened.
See, that to
They
me,
lost 2-1 in the shootout, in case you care. I see you care deeply by the way you're reacting right now.
Well, my reaction is the idea, the NHL is, number 4, basically, when it comes to the popularity scale of the major sports.
Nationwide, yeah. I think that's skewed by where you are.
Right. Yeah, obviously, there are cities and places where it's more popular than others. And, of course, some cities don't have certain professional sports. But still, it tends to be football. Then baseball, basketball, and hockey. And I'm just thinking, hockey, what are you doing to yourself? You're opening a preseason schedule on a Sunday afternoon
at the exact same time the Redskins are playing?
Yes, and the NFL season is going on, so you're the 4th most popular sport fighting with the top most popular sport very early in their season where people still have hopes and aspirations and think their team's going to be great, like Redskins fans after week 1, now, wallowing in it in week 2. Now you're ready to pay a little more attention to the Capitals because of the inconsistency of the Redskins.
You're twisting the knife just out of nowhere. We're talking hockey, and you're still I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think if you play a preseason hockey game on a Tuesday evening, this time of year, people are watching baseball.
That's it.
So
your season's going to open in October when the baseball playoffs are going on and the NFL season is reaching its midway point.
It opens during the week. So you're competing with baseball. And around here, what are people going to be watching at that point? They're going to be watching the Capitals open at home on a Wednesday night on NBC against the Boston Bruins while they raise the Stanley Cup banner because the Nationals won't be playing.
Right.
Because they've stunk up the joint. By the way, I liked how you stood up for yourself this morning and admitted that the Nationals have been the biggest disappointment in the major leagues this year.
Oh, they have to be. I don't see any other team that can be.
Mm-mm.
While the Orioles have dropped 106
Nobody
games.
was expecting them to be good. They weren't expecting them to be that bad.
Right.
But nobody was expecting the Orioles to be that good either.
So it's not as big a disappointment because you knew they weren't going to be a good team. You just didn't know they were going to be this bad.
But you take back-to-back 90-win seasons in the exact same roster.
Yeah. And a team that at the beginning of the year, pundits are talking about, quote-unquote experts are talking about, this is a team that could win the World Series. And now they're not even going to make the playoffs.
Who the experts are? Could we claim ourselves experts?
I guess we could.
I mean, we've been saying the Nationals have been done for 2 months now, so are we experts?
There it is. Local radio experts predicted that the Nationals would not make the playoffs a month ago.
The Phillies have fallen off too, haven't they?
Well, that's what's interesting.
They just couldn't stay consistent.
Last night,
the youth caught up with them.
Or yesterday, it wasn't a night game, but yesterday on Sunday, with the Nationals win at Atlanta 6-4 and taking 2 out of 3 in that series, that has the Nationals 2 games above 500, 76 and 74, and just 1 game back of Philadelphia for second in the NL East. A month ago, I didn't think they were catching Philly.
I figured they had pretty much solidified that number 3 spot.
Yeah,
but again, okay, because you and I differ on this opinion. They're now 76 and 74.
Yep, 2 games
over 500. Does it mean anything to finish in second in the NL East or third in the NL East?
It should.
It shouldn't, though. Congratulations, you played 50-50 baseball the last. It's not like they went on. It's not like they were the Miami Marlins all year, and they went on a late surge and ended up finishing second and played phenomenal the second half of the season and really the last 2 months of the season, and they finished on a high note. Congratulations, you finished in second because you played 500 baseball, and the Phillies played below 500 baseball the last month and a half of the season, or really month of the season. I don't understand how that could possibly be used as any sort of achievement.
To me, I think it's the essence of competition. All right? We're competing, obviously, at the beginning of the year, and especially with the roster that they have, to be a World Series champion team. That's what they would like to be, obviously, and that's what they're competing to do at the beginning of the year. As the year has played out for them, I think they are now at a point where obviously they realize they're not going to get to the postseason, but the competition is still there. Okay, now you're competing for what? To be the best that we can be with what we are right now. So I think it's better to still be competing. But is this the best that they can be right now? Well, right now it's still underachieving. I understand that it's underachieving, but you're still going out game in and game out. Being halfway decent compared to what you've been the rest of this season doesn't necessarily mean you're still not underachieving. But you compete to the very end, whether you underachieved or not overall as a team. Well, you're competing. Anytime you go out there, you're competing. Doesn't mean you're competing at a high level. I'd rather finish second than finish fourth in the division, even though I know second wasn't any more than a consolation prize. Yay, we finished above 500. It still beats the dickens out of being a 106-loss Orioles team right now. I think it depends on what division you're in, to be honest. I think if the Pittsburgh Pirates would have finished in second this year, there would have been a lot of hype and anticipation around the Central and around the Pirates, because they cleaned house right before the season started, and nobody had any expectations. I think finishing second in the Central, if you're the Pirates, in a division that includes the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Cubs, I think that is considered a second-place accomplishment. I don't see any accomplishment in the Nationals finishing second with the Phillies playing awful the last month of the season and finishing second in a division that they should have ran away with and had clinched up 2 weeks ago. Well, clearly you didn't expect Atlanta to be playing the way that they are playing. No, but the Nationals, as consistent as they have been. If the Nationals played the way they did last year, they clinch out the division already. Yeah, they should. Because they would have beaten Atlanta enough times, Atlanta wouldn't have had that good of a record. I'm telling you, I really don't see how finishing second is any sort of moral victory for the Nationals this year. All right, let's take a break because we're at that point where we need to. On the other side of the break, I want to stick with baseball for maybe one more segment if it goes that long, because I read a little piece earlier today on a website called Federal Baseball that I want to bring your way when we talk about that NL East and whether perhaps the transition of power is going on right before our very eyes. We'll talk about that next on Miller Time.
Suddenly this crazy world made more sense to me.
The highest judicial bench in the state deciding the fates of our citizens, you should have down-to-earth experience as a judge and a lawyer. Judge Jim Douglas is a sitting family court judge with 39 years of hard work in prosecution and defense and caring for his clients. Judge Douglas will make the welfare of West Virginia's children a priority and bring respect back to our highest court. On November 6th, vote for Judge Jim Douglas, West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals, Division 2. Paid for by Friends of Jim Douglas for Supreme Court. Stephen Thompson, Treasurer.
Healthcare in America is changing. In the past, disability and chronic illness often meant the end to independent living. Now, technological advances and the skill and dedication of home care professionals enable more than 11 million of our neighbors to maintain the dignity and independence they treasure. This is Lisa Bivens, Executive Director at Panhandle Home Health, your local home health experts for more than 40 years. If you, your loved one, or neighbors need home health care, call Panhandle Home Health at 304-263-5680 or on the web at panhandlehomehealth.org.
I'm Mark Istuk with the NFL Network now on the Westwood One Radio Network. In Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers started on his injured knee, and he went punch for punch with the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. Mason Crosby missed a field goal at the end of regulation, and two misses from the Vikings. Daniel Carlson in overtime ended the contest in a tie at 29. More kicking woes in the Big Easy as Zane Gonzalez missed two field goals, one as time expired, and the Browns fell to the Saints 21-18. NFL history history was made in Pittsburgh as Patrick Mahomes became the first player to throw 10 touchdowns through the first 2 games of the season. The Chiefs outlasted the Steelers 42-37. In a rematch of the AFC Championship game a year ago, Jacksonville got their revenge and topped the Patriots, and Fitzmagic continues as the Bucs win 27-21 over the Eagles. In the nightcap, the Cowboys moved to 1-1 with a win over the Giants. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
I used to have a sweet tooth, had it removed when I was a kid. So what do I crave instead of chocolate? A big red box from Grainger. Grainger satisfies my craving for great customer service with 24/7 support, effortless ordering, and same-day pickup or next-day delivery options. No busy signals, no cavities. I love Grainger. You know why? Because when it comes to reliable product and technical support, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I used to post to job boards only to be overwhelmed with resumes.
Which made it easy to miss a great candidate.
That old process was
not smart. Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology finds the right people
and actively invites them to apply.
So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
If you're a victim in a motor vehicle wreck or injured due to another person's fault, at Ferretti Law Office, we get to work protecting your rights and getting you the money you need and deserve. The insurance companies handling your claims want a fast and cheap settlement. Before making that mistake, call Ferretti Law Office at 264-8505 to discuss your claim for free. You did not choose to be injured, but your choice of law firms can make a difference. At Ferretti Law Office, we're here to help.
After removing your creme brulee from the oven, your dessert should look just scrumptious. Now sprinkle with some sugar and use your torch to braise it to a golden, crispy brown.
Disasters happen. Fire, water, and natural disasters. Tell your insurance provider you prefer Blue Ridge Property Restore. Blue Ridge Property Restore, getting you back from disaster faster.
Join us next week when we tackle Baked Alaska.
Staring at the prettiest part of this powder keg world.
We welcome you back into Miller Time along with Matt Crawford. I'm Matt Miller. Hey, if you were not aware, we are live tonight on TV 10. That's on the Comcast cable system in Berkeley and Jefferson counties. You can go to TV 10 right now, cable channel 10, and you will watch us as you listen as well as we do the show live on TV and radio.
And if you look right now, I look like Wilson from Home Improvement with the microphone right there. You can only see my eyes up.
And if you go, I don't have the cable system, then just pop your computer and go to YouTube, type in the search engine WRNR TV, and you can pick it up there as well.
If you're watching either one of those, you see a lovely ticker going across the bottom of the screen right now. If you didn't get a chance to tune in at all last Friday when the Martinsburg Bulldogs were at Spring Mills, TV 10 is now your exclusive home to watch Martinsburg Bulldog football.
Sweet.
And that includes this weekend when you are in Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, to broadcast the Martinsburg Bulldogs against the Academy Park Knights.
Just outside of Philadelphia. It looks like we'll take 95, go down to Baltimore, around the Beltway, 95 up. And
you changed your mind since this morning yet again?
I don't know. I just keep checking.
I don't know why. It's the same time, and the other way it takes $28 in tolls to get through the lovely Pennsylvania Turnpike. Which is a very well-paved road, never has any accidents or issues on it.
I wondered about your use of lovely there, but
not that 695 and the Baltimore Beltway
are better,
are much better. But
I'm just you get up there and you're right around the Philadelphia International Airport, where you then veer off of the road and take an exit. Don't just veer off anywhere, and then make your way over towards Academy Park. So,
did you ever have a GPS tell you to do that? My sister and I were driving back from Redskin training camp one year, and it's about an hour and 35-minute drive from where I grew up to Ashburn, Virginia. and we're crossing the Woodrow Wilson Bridge from Virginia back into Maryland on the D.C. Beltway, and all of a sudden our GPS goes, turn right off the Wilson Bridge. And I'm going, hey, don't turn right.
Yeah,
I know you live by this GPS sometimes. If you turn right here, we're going into the Potomac. So just stay in this lane. We can get home from here.
I don't know that I've had that happen. No,
it was interesting.
But we will have we're going to do a test run tomorrow morning. Not that it will be on TV, but we will be doing a test run tomorrow morning here in studio so that we can try to be on top of things so that, yes, hopefully Friday night, if all goes well, you can listen to the game on all of our regular AM, FM website and app, and then also watch the game on TV 10. So that's what we're looking forward to Friday night.
All right, baseball. You had something else to talk about?
Well, because
I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, I'm asking if we're seeing a little bit of the changing of the guard. Obviously, the Nationals have some age on their team. I mean, they still obviously have some quality players signed to contracts that will be coming back. But, you know, they're in that window category. You know, everybody always talks about the window. With this group of players, there's a certain window if you're going to win a championship. And then, of course, you don't know what's going to happen to Bryce Harper in the offseason.
You don't?
Obviously, the Braves have, shown they've got a lot of good young talent, and they're obviously being very competitive. And Philadelphia has been competitive through much of the year. They've fallen off here at the end of the year. What I bring up is earlier today on a baseball website called Federal Baseball, they give you like little quick headlines and then blurbs about different teams. And so this is really all this says. The little headline says, execs think Phillies could land Machado, in all capitals, and Harper. And according to this just quick little snippet, it says the Phillies have the money, a low payroll, and the willingness to sign big names. They know that they won't be as good as the Braves without some help, quite obvious with the way things are going. So if you've got the money and you want to spend it and you got big names, I don't know if they can afford both of those guys, but I've heard Philly in the mix with Harper's name for a while now.
And how much would that just eat at the Washington Nationals and the Nats fans? I still think Harper's not loved all that much in D.C. right now. Could you imagine if he voluntarily went to a division rival? He'd be hated. The city of D.C. would hate him. Any fan loyalty he had in D.C., which, again, I don't think is all that high right now because of some of the comments that have been made over the course of the later part of the season. But he would lose any credibility he had in the D.C. area and in the Nationals fan base. But with that being said, the Phillies would be a team to be reckoned with if they could add Manny Machado and Bryce Harper.
So if you're Bryce Harper, then why not? You're looking at it from three standpoints. If I'm already looking at it going, look, this town doesn't necessarily like me as much as I would like for them to like me.
Well, what did he produce to earn that level of respect?
Well, I mean,
yes, he had a couple of MVPs, but at the end of the day, do they have any banners hanging up?
No, they don't.
Other than division banners?
But you still have likable players on teams in cities that aren't, winning championships. But, okay, so he looks at it from that standpoint. The second standpoint, you go, hey, wait a minute. How much money am I going to stand to make? And then the third aspect is I want to win a World Series championship. If I think the door is closing on a team that I'm playing on that the fans may not want me as much as I would like to be wanted, I don't care if it's a division rival. If the Phillies are on the upswing with a lot of young talent, I can fit in with that talent. We can make a run at a World Series, and I'm going to get a huge paycheck. You can't blame the guy for going.
No, I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying that he would lose any sort of fan love he had in D.C.
Make that rivalry that much better, right?
It would.
Every time they come to town.
I want you to think about something. The 3, 4, 5, or the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Phillies next year, possibly Machado, Hoskins, Harper.
How you pitching around those guys?
You don't.
Somebody you got to pitch to.
Yeah.
And all of them can hit it. So it's just something. And again, there's no saying this is going to happen. It was just a clip here that apparently some execs think maybe it could. All right, we're at the bottom of the hour. We need to break. But stay tuned for more Miller Time.
CBS News update. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh has a phone conference scheduled this hour with Republican Senate judiciary staffers about the allegations of sexual misconduct when he was a teen. Maine Senator Susan Collins.
I believe in order for me to assess the credibility of these allegations, I want to have both individuals come before the Senate Judiciary Committee and testify under oath.
President Trump says there may be a little delay, but he believes Kavanaugh is still on track to be confirmed. CBS's Paula Reed.
He reiterated his credentials. He said he was, quote, one of the great intellects. He said he was just absolutely dazzled by all his recommendations. And it appears that some of this calm may come from a place of confidence that if you allow this process to play out, ultimately he will get his justice confirmed.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
It's been a pretty decent soaking of rain for Monday so far. We are not done yet. More showers, thunder showers overnight, some steady downpours at times. Temperatures near 70 degrees for the low at daybreak. It'll be raining tomorrow morning, too. Maybe a couple of thunder showers through the midday. And then later in the afternoon, the rain starts to taper off. And you see a high around 80. Sunny and 82 Wednesday. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
Burke, Schultz, Harmon, and Jenkinson, where accident, injury, and disability lawyers with over 120 years combined local trial experience. When injury or illness has stopped you from working, you may be eligible for Social Security disability. Ron Harmon has been winning disability claims for over a quarter of a century. Don't hire some out-of-state firm. Ron Harmon's in Martinsburg. He will meet with you right here in our office. Get a local lawyer you can trust. Call 304-LAWYERS for a free consultation. 304-LAWYERS or 304-263-0900.
W. Harley Miller Systems provides custom integration services such as home or office automation, audio-video distribution, home theater, networking, and much more. With a Control4 system, you can consolidate into a single and simple solution, eliminating the need for a table full of remotes or dozens of apps on your cell phone. Want to check on the house from work? Want to listen to your favorite music while cooking dinner? Want to enjoy your favorite movie in your own home theater? Contact W. Harley Miller to make your dreams come true. Phone 304-350-1931 or visit WHMSystems.com.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Well, it is now official. Carson Wentz cleared for contact, will start the team's Week 3 game, Eagles against the Colts. Eagles also said that Mike Wallace, a fractured fibula, he's going to be out for a while. Other ridiculously major NFL news today, the Browns, they did trade away wide receiver Josh Gordon to the Patriots for a conditional 5th-round pick. 8:15 Eastern, it is Monday Night Football. Seahawks and the Bears will get it going. Redskins have inked Rashad Perriman, formerly of the Ravens. And ESPN's Adam Schefter reports LaShawn McCoy has cracked rib cartilage. He's questionable for this weekend. On the diamond tonight, 12 total games. AP Top 25, still all about Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State and Oklahoma are 4 and 5. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
Napa know-how. Right now, Mobil 1 Full Synthetic Motor Oil is $29.99 for a 5-quart jug. Its advanced formula provides maximum sludge protection, defending your engine like a catcher defends home plate. So, get top-notch engine protection with the Mobil 1 Full Synthetic 5-quart jug for $29.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. General States pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/18.
There's this funny correlation between the size of a gift for a woman and her excitement level. Oh, she gets excited if you get her a gift, any gift. It's exciting to get a present. But compare her excitement over a big box that has, say, a new closet organizer system in it to a little, really little box from Bechtel Jewelers. Big box with big items in it. Little box with something very little and tiny and sparkly in it. Big box with practical stuff, which is good for sure. Who doesn't want a new blender or espresso machine? Little box with fine jewelry in it. Maybe new earrings, a diamond pendant. All kinds of things fit in that little box. Big box, little box. Which one gets her more excited? The simple truth is, the littler the box, the bigger her excitement. I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. We are the Little Box Store. We have the little boxes that that bring on the majorly big excitement. For the gift that excites her and delights and say love so clearly, come see us.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening, along with Matt Crawford. I'm Matt Miller. Glad to have you joining us. By the way, if you ever want to give us a call, you could do that as well, 304-263-6540 or 304-263-6586. We can pull you up on either one of those lines and make you part of the evening.
We're friendly. We won't bite. At least I won't. I don't know about.
I was going to say, we won't bite.
I don't know about Matt's oral habits.
We do have fun fussing at one another, and you can join in the fuss. We won't mind fussing.
We encourage more people in the fuss.
It's fun, you know. That's the whole idea to me of sports radio.
It is. It's to go back and forth. That's about when you can listen to two people argue back and forth, and you go, okay, well, I'm kind of on his side, or it's just fun. That's good sports radio.
Hopefully, that's what we are able to do here, as you and I tend to somewhat agree. But
we agree on the big pictures a lot of times. Yeah. I think it's the nitty-gritty details.
And you bring the young perspective. I bring the
old fart perspective.
Yeah, that's it. The slightly older perspective. I see you were using terminology I wasn't quite thinking of. But then again, every time you hit tomorrow's date in sports history, I kind of go, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I wasn't necessarily there.
No, you were Forrest Gump. You were at every major sporting event or watched every major sporting event that ever happened.
Where did it hit you? In the buttocks,
in the buttocks. Something bit me. All right, bottom of the hour. You mentioned it. Tomorrow in sports history. 'Tis that time. Taking a look at the 18th of September in sports history. Going all the way back to 1848. That was a good year.
I didn't see this one.
I don't think many people saw this one. This was before TV and I think even before radio. Baseball rules first baseman can tag base for out instead of runner.
Nice.
That's a big rule.
Yeah, so it used to be even shortstop scoops the grounder, throws to first, even in that situation.
And tag, apparently.
I can imagine the very close plays and the very irate base runners.
Yeah, like head-on collisions happened at first base.
Yeah.
1956, Mickey Mantle's the 8th person in history to have a 50-home-run season. I'll have to do some research on this. When he was the 8th in 1956, how many do you think were Yankees? Because Babe Ruth had, I don't know if he's the 8th to hit 50. So does that mean that was the 8th time in history or that he was just the 8th separate player? Because Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig had to have 8 combined, you would think.
Well, we will have to do some research.
I'm guessing that means the 8th separate player. Because you had to think that Gehrig and Ruth combined had at least 8.
But 50 home runs in one season is a lot.
I know that. I'm not saying it's not a lot. 1963, the final game is played at the Polo Grounds. You want to guess how many people were there to see the Phillies beat the Mets? 5-1. How about how big the Polo Grounds were?
I'm going to go 35,000.
1,752. Apparently not a lot of people wanted to watch that. 1965, another Mickey Mantle stat for you. Mickey Mantle Day at Yankee Stadium. Mantle plays in his 2000th career game. It's a lot of baseball.
It is.
1966, Baltimore quarterback Johnny Unitas throws 4 touchdown passes in a 38-23 win at Minnesota to surpass Y.A. Tittle as the NFL's career leader with 212 touchdown passes. Johnny Unitas would go on to have 290 career touchdown passes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't think of the quarterback position and not mention his name.
Of Johnny U. Yeah. 1996, Roger Clemens ties his own major league record and records 20 strikeouts. To do that once is amazing.
Yeah.
And do it twice is just unreal. But, steroids. Again, I'm not saying that did or didn't have any impact on. All I'm saying is you can't hear the name Roger Clemens anymore and not think of steroids. And that's where I think the youth with what you're talking about, how you have the older perspective and I have the younger perspective, you can probably think of some of those guys and not think of steroids because you think of the beginning. Like, you can think of Barry Bonds and think of his days with the Pirates.
I think of Mark McGwire, the Bash brothers. He and Jose Canseco together, and they were already, big enough as far as their size and their power, and then to watch the way really both of those guys ballooned because of help.
Yeah, but my generation, so born in the 90s and sooner, you can't think of these guys without steroids.
Yep.
Because you watch the heart of their careers, not necessarily the beginning of their careers. And one more, just because it has somewhat local ties. England footballer Wayne Rooney in 2017. He is now a member of the DC United Football Club. Or I don't know if it's soccer club or football. I think it's soccer club. I don't know. It's DC United. Who cares? Pleads guilty to drunk driving and is banned from driving for 2 years. Don't drive drunk, kids. It's not worth it.
No, not at all.
All right. So we got to take a look at something that went on today in sports history. And I shouldn't even say in sports history. It's a day to be excited on an event that happened in sports history and DC history. Today is the birthday of the greatest DC athlete and greatest Russian of all time.
And the one and last thing, before the year, I said, not me say, it's just us saying, we're not going to be sucked this year. We're the Stanley Cup champions! Yeah!
Happy birthday to the great 8, Alexander Ovechkin.
I believe he was in the radio broadcast booth for a time yesterday watching the Redskins.
He was an honorary captain yesterday at the Redskins game.
Yes, I heard that portion of the broadcast as I was in my vehicle as they were welcoming
Apparently
him
he doesn't have to play in preseason games.
Oh,
because think about that. That's the first thing I thought about was the Capitals played yesterday in a preseason game. But I guess when you're
known as
one of the
great 8,
when you're the greatest player in your team's history and are still somewhat in your prime, you can probably decide that you don't want to play in the first couple preseason games.
Has he enjoyed this championship or what?
Yeah, it's hard to look at and hockey's so much different than any other sport, because of the time you get with the trophy.
Yeah.
And the individual flair that each player puts their own spin on with the trophy. Because each player gets it for a day. So there's been countless individual stories about this trophy and the whole parade around Vegas tonight they won the cup, and the parade in D.C. and just seeing all the pictures of Ovechkin celebrating with that cup. It's hard to find somebody who's celebrated a championship and been just that excited to win a championship more than Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a lot of guys that have gone that long in their career and accomplished that much and just have that one thing waiting for them.
I was going to say, it was a long time coming. It was the only piece of the puzzle missing to be able to call him. I mean, obviously, he's one of the greatest, but how many great players in every sport, when people talk about them, one of the things that they say is, but he never won that championship.
Well, and that's what I said after they won the cup is with that Stanley Cup last year, Alex Ovechkin goes from one of the greatest players of his era to one of the greatest players of all time. I think if he doesn't win that Stanley Cup, he would not be seen by some of the outsiders in the National Hockey League as one of the greatest players of all time, just one of the best goal scorers of his generation. But I think that Stanley Cup officially puts him in a category of one of the greatest NHL players of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if that's me being biased because I'm a diehard Washington Capitals fan, but to me it's hard not to see him as one of the greatest players in NHL history now. Again, he's never going to be a Gordie Howe or a Wayne Gretzky, but he's now in that second tier of guys that you can't write the story of the NHL without talking about Alex Ovechkin.
Well,
and that's how you're considered one of the greats or considered a Hall of Famer. If you cannot write the story of the sport without that player, then you're not one of the best.
The impact they've had on the game.
Yes.
You know, as big as he is, as strong as he is, yet as skillful as he is on the ice, you know, the way that he plays the game, this is probably not a great comparison. Caleb's over here, I think. He might jump in on this one. But to me, I look at him as kind of the LeBron James, if you will, of the NHL. Because LeBron is that big guy who, frankly, could be a forwarder. You know, I mean, people talk about comparing, you know, LeBron and Michael and other great players and so forth, but LeBron is a different kind of player all the way around with the size, yet the finesse and the skill that I think Ovechkin brings that same kind of thing to the ice that a lot of other guys maybe can't.
All right, Caleb, what do you think? Bring Caleb Flaro in from the newsroom. What do you think? It's an accurate comparison?
From what I've seen, you know, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but from what I've seen, yeah, I can say that's a pretty accurate statement.
It's so hard because you're comparing sports that are nothing alike.
Right.
I don't like leadership-wise, meaning how much they mean to their sport. Yeah, okay. Then I got when you look at just the pure aspect of how much they mean to the teams they're on and the sport that they're playing, that's a movement I can get behind.
Well, and again, and I'm thinking about it even just the way that they play, you know, the size, the skill, the finesse, you know, a lot of big guys can't do what LeBron does on the floor. They don't handle the ball as well, or they, you know, can't maneuver or get to the basket the way he can. Same thing on the ice. A lot of guys that, you know, maybe are more power-type players don't have that ability to finesse the way that an Alex Ovechkin can, you know, do both. I mean, he can come down and knock your head off, and yet at the same time skate right around you and fire that, you know, 120-mile-an-hour shot at the net.
Although if you ask Rob Mario, he doesn't have to do that anymore. That's Tom Wilson's job.
That's why you bring a guy in like that.
All right, so what meant more? I'll get both your opinions on this. What meant more? LeBron finally winning an NBA title, or Alex Ovechkin finally winning a Stanley Cup? What do you think? Who do you think that impacted more? I think it impacted Ovechkin more just because you don't know how many more years Alex Ovechkin has left in his prime. LeBron came into the NBA at such a young age that while he didn't get that championship his first stint in Cleveland, what was he when he left Cleveland the first time? Like 27? 28? If even that, he may have been younger than that. He was still in his 20s.
Right.
So you knew he had time left. So you're more the NBA guy, so you can probably tell me how much that really meant to his legacy. But to me, Ovechkin was a little bit more just because you didn't know how much or how many more years Ovechkin was still going to have in the spotlight.
Yeah, I think to his legacy it didn't mean as much, but you know, because I mean, he had to leave for that to get that championship. Ovechkin stayed, and you know that his legacy, he stayed with Washington. It meant a lot, not just to him but to the team, the franchise.
And Ovechkin didn't have the whole dream team around him. They didn't get the big three and didn't have the whole
decision.
The decision part one. He didn't decide I'm taking my talents to South Beach. He basically had to make his own NBA title team, and Ovechkin stuck with the cat. Although he didn't have much of a choice, he signed a 13-year contract. I was in middle school when he signed that contract. Let that just sink in. I think about that every now and then. I'm like, I was in middle school. I wasn't 13 yet when Alex Ovechkin signed his contract with the Capitals. To me, I think Ovechkin winning a Stanley Cup was better for his legacy than LeBron finally winning an NBA title.
And the fact that LeBron has gone on to win more is, you know, maybe...
Yeah, maybe if that was the only one, we may be looking at that a little different.
Right.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the Caps and Ovechkin are hoping this is not the only one either.
I'm hoping not.
Can they repeat?
They have the same group of guys coming back.
They don't have the same coach, you know. LeBron kept their Spoelstra.
How much do NBA coaches really do?
LeBron's the coach, right?
And LeBron didn't necessarily...
What was it? It was Steve Kerr out in Golden State this year that let the players run the huddles, right? For that, wasn't that the big controversy where he was like standing outside of the team huddle and Steph had the clipboard and was like drawing everything up?
Yep.
Yeah. And the NBA's a joke.
And Steph didn't necessarily, Steph, you had me going the wrong way. LeBron didn't necessarily want Spoelstra, right? Have I not been reading those things where, he kind of, hinted at least at Pat Riley like it'd be nice to get somebody else in here?
Yeah.
So I don't think LeBron was necessarily a huge fan of Eric Spoelstra. How did we get into the NBA?
I don't know. It's right around the corner.
It always comes back.
The fall sports are right around the corner.
Yeah, they start too soon, too.
All right, we got to get into the break for the bottom of the hour. When we come back,
top of the hour?
For the bottom half of the show.
The bottom?
We're 1 hour in. We're at the bottom, then we're going into the second hour.
Okay.
So top of the hour, bottom of the show.
So we're at the bottom of the first.
Yes.
Headed to the second inning.
Exactly.
Put it in baseball terms.
We'll get back to football when we come back. We'll take a look at some record, or not some record set, but some awards and some rankings given out over the weekend and today.
One more piece of baseball information when we come back, too.
All right, you listen to Miller Time on Talk Radio WRNR. We will be right back.
WVU Medicine is committed to recruiting highly qualified medical professionals and is pleased to introduce several new providers who've joined our medical staffs at Berkeley Medical Center and Jefferson Medical Center. Dr. Farnaz Hushman, Pulmonology, Dr. Craig Clark, Orthopedics, Dr. Jeffrey Bowman, Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Kevin Hibbett, General Surgery, Dr. Sam Wanko, Hematology Oncology, Dr. Consuelo Cruden-Parham, Obstetrics and Gynecology, and Dr. Apoorv Prasad, Neurology. WVU Medicine, growing to meet the needs of our community.
It's Ram Truck Month at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Martinsburg, and that means great deals all over the lot, like 2018 Ram trucks with up to $12,500 off. Stop by and inquire about the no money down specials and no payments for 90 days. Get other great deals like 2019 Dodge Grand Caravans from $26,900 or a 2019 Chrysler Pacifica for 0% APR plus $500 Chrysler Capital Cash. With over 300 trucks, SUVs, vans, and cars in stock, you'll find just what you're looking for during Ram Truck Month at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Kelly Island Road, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. All payments based on approved credit, taxes, tags, and processing fees extra. See dealer for details.
Let's face it, sometimes local is just better. Locally grown, locally sourced, shop local, eat local. But what about local expertise? At Allstate, Gary Kelly is just that, a local. So contact Martinsburg Allstate agent Gary Kelly today so he can help you with protection that's right for you and the things you love most. Call 304-263-4596. Allstate, are you in good hands? Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Assurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company. Do you hear that? Nothing beats the sound of summer unless it's finding a way to make cleaning your pool easier. Now you can with Pool Life. Our complete line of premium pool care products is the easiest solution under the sun for crystal clear, clean pool fun. Get the most brilliant clean ever seen all summer long with Pool Life. Only at fine pool dealers like John's Pool Supplies, close to Gold's Gym on Eagle School Road in Martinsburg. Ask about quality PDC hot tubs. Phone 267-2000 or go online at johnspoolsupplies.com.
You also broke
Simply free e-checking from City National Bank. Perfect if you want basic checking with no monthly service fees or balance requirements. Stop by any of our 7 Eastern Panhandle locations or visit us online at bankatcity.com. City National Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening. Another hour still to come. We're taking you to 7 o'clock, and at the top of the hour at 7, it's the Dana Holgerson Show. Tune in and hear from the head coach and probably an assistant, and who knows who else will join the crew as they're at Kegler's Sports Bar in Morgantown Tony Caridi will host the program, and that's from 7 to 9 tonight. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll join In Progress. Dun, 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 dun. Monday Night Football.
Without John Gruden. He's losing games this year.
That was a tough one yesterday.
Both of them
for the
have been
Raiders.
tough.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they'll get there.
Yeah, they will.
They'll get there.
The fact that after 2 games they are right there is pretty promising for Chucky and the boys.
All right, before we transition to football for good, I said one more baseball piece of information. David Welch of Rob and Dave and Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and Dave in the mornings. In fact, while I have the opportunity, let me quickly plug. When we wrap up here tonight at 7 o'clock on TV 10, on the cable system, Comcast Cable in Berkeley and Jefferson counties, you'll get to see this morning's Eastern Panhandle Talk all over again. So if you're unable to watch in the morning, you'll get a chance to pick it up here tonight from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So be prepared for that. But anyway, Dave chimed in and said, hey, I don't think Gehrig ever got to 50 home runs. And I looked it up, and sure enough, Lou Gehrig in 1934 and again in 1936 finished both of those years at 49 home runs. He never had a 50 home run season.
Yeah, so I'd have lost some money on that. I would have thought that Lou Gehrig had at least 1 or 2 50 home run seasons.
Babe Ruth had 4 of them. 60, 59, 54 twice.
That still just blows my mind how ahead of the power numbers he was to everybody. I mean, just think about how we were talking about a stat in the early 19 teens last week in one of the Tomorrow in Sports Histories where I think it wasn't Cy Young. It was somebody it was a famous old name in baseball, hit a league-leading 9th home run to end the season. And not 8 years later, you have the great Bambino come and just, obliterating records. And he was so far ahead of his time when it came to power. And the fact he didn't pick up a baseball bat until he was in an orphanage as almost a teenager. And
in Baltimore.
In Baltimore, yep. Right by where the stadium is now.
Yeah, right there at Camden Yards.
Yep.
So, yeah, absolutely amazing, the numbers that he put up. The power of, a beer and a hot dog, right? Because he wasn't the guy going out lifting weights all off season and doing what these guys do today.
That's what got him in trouble, too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so we make the transition from baseball into football. By the way, the Nationals are in Miami tonight, just in case you care. 7:10 is the first pitch for that one. And the O's are hosting the Blue Jays tonight as Baltimore 43-106. The next closest in losses, Kansas City, has dropped 97. So they're going to end up with 100 losses as well by the time
there
the
was one
season
point in the
ends.
season where Kansas City actually had a worse record than the Orioles.
Yes, and there was a point in the season where we were talking about how many different teams, a minimum of 5, I think it was.
We're going to reach the 100-loss mark.
And I'm anxious to see if that's still going to happen. Clearly, Kansas City is going to be there unless they go on a mighty tear here over the final 2 weeks. Baltimore's already there, so we'll keep an eye on the bottom of the standings as well.
Another half hour coming up. We didn't even get to football.
Another half hour, another full hour.
Another full hour. We'll have a full hour of football coming up because we haven't really talked a whole lot about it.
You mentioned an award. What are you talking about?
Tyson Bagent, your Mountain East Offensive Player of the Week this week for the Mountain East Conference. The phenom freshman from Shepherd had himself a good game on Saturday.
Yes, he did. 300-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick six. He'd like to have that one back. But, all right, we'll talk about that and more when we continue with Miller Time on Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
Now your local news from Talk Radio WRNR. The Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Town Foundation has joined Jefferson County Schools in supporting an immediate halt to all work underway at the Rockwool site in Ranson. A statement from the foundation says the Rockwool facility has raised many serious concerns among members of the foundation's board, some of them related to the 21-story smokestacks that will be emitting tons of volatile organic compounds and tons of nitrogen oxides. They also said there's a possibility of contamination to the area's primary water source, the Elks Run watershed. In addition, the foundation said they're unlikely to support any economic development plans for the county in the future that include heavy industrial manufacturing similar in scope and size to the Rockwool facility. West Virginia U.S. Senators Joe Manchin and Shelley Moore Capito and Representative Alex Mooney secured funding to remedy the contamination of drinking water in Martinsburg caused by an acid and foams used by the Air National Guard to suppress fires. I'm Adam Boardman, Talk Radio WRNR News.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
It's a rainy, breezy, and mild Monday night for Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan counties. Showers, some thunder at times. Early morning low near 70 degrees. Daytime high tomorrow near 80. More showers, couple of thunder showers, especially the early half of the day. Rain will taper off some later on. Comes to an end tomorrow night, and we're back in the sunshine finally for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with highs lower 80s. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
West Virginia high school football featuring the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Getting a couple of nice blocks from his wide receivers, gets to the far sideline, stays in bounds, down the sideline to the 20, slips through a diving tackle at the 15 and goes into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. The Martinsburg Bulldogs will travel to Sharon Hills, Pennsylvania to face the Academy Park Knights on Friday night at 7, our pregame at 6, with Miller time at 5 p.m. on Talk Radio WRNR, your local leader in talk, news, sports.
If you want to experience moments of joy, excitement, and satisfaction, visit the Honda Summer Spectacular event, where well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on the 2018 Honda Clarity Plug-in Hybrid, part of KBB.com's 2018 Best Overall Brand. You've just entered car buying bliss.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
See dealer for financing details based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for information.
You're really busy. Got it. The last thing you want to think about today is a funeral home. Got it. But a little forward thinking now can save you a lot of heartache later. It's easier than you think. We're Brown Funeral Homes, family owned, in business for over 135 years, since 1880. And we're home based, right here in the Eastern Panhandle. Think smart. Think ahead. Brown Funeral Homes, Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson. Brown Funeral Homes. We're here for you.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening. Along with Matt Crawford, I'm Matt Miller, taking you up to 7 o'clock tonight when we'll join the Dana Holgerson call-in show. The chance to hear from the coach and get an idea of what the Mountaineers did during their off week over the weekend, and looking forward to their conference opener, the Big 12 opener against Kansas State. It's a Stripe the Stadium game in Morgantown this Saturday.
So one of those blue-gold, you have to wear the right color in the right section.
Yep, if you sit in certain sections, you're encouraged to wear the gold. If you sit in other sections, you are encouraged to wear the blue, so that if everybody cooperates effectively, you get the blue, gold, blue, gold, blue, gold striping of the stadium.
Which does look pretty cool.
It does.
When you get a big stadium like that, it looks pretty cool. When they do that at the SEC games, it gets pretty cool.
There's a lot of fun being up there 2 weeks ago. First time in a long time I've had a chance to be in Morgantown and see a game, and it was definitely worth the trip and the experience. And that was against Youngstown State on a rainy day. I can only imagine what it will be like if the weather is halfway decent and Oklahoma comes to town on the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that'll be a time.
That place will be rocking. Yeah. And I imagine that might be one of those weekends where an ESPN, a game day, some entity will be there to really help promote and push that one, especially if the season goes the way that it was predicted at the beginning of the year with Oklahoma and WVU 1-2 in the Big 12. All right, before we continue in football, got to go back to basketball only for a moment. Tommy texted me during the break and said, I can't wait for Wizards basketball with the starting five. Just hope the bench plays well.
That's been the issue. It's been the bench. I mean,
Well,
the starting five has had its issues. Most of that has been, like you said, it's been because of injury.
Yeah, that's been the biggest issue, is keeping guys healthy and then being able to get the production off the bench when everybody is healthy. And defense. Golly, Ned, somebody play some defense.
It's the NBA. No such thing. That's not in their dictionaries.
I know everybody wants to score, but defense.
You got to play defense. Defense wins championships.
That's it.
All right, you want to finally talk some football?
Let's do it. You mentioned Tyson Bagent with another big game.
He did have himself a pretty good ball game.
32 completions, 41 attempts, 378 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 1 pick six, but get this, through his first 2 games as a true freshman, 68 completions, 896 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's not bad.
No, but you mentioned true freshman. The interception he had last week against Glenville was a true freshman throw that he rolled out, dropped back, and just watched the receiver to the left side the entire time. It's a good defensive play by the secondary of Glenville State. I'll give them that. They realized that he was looking his left the entire time and just kind of lobbed a throw over. And that's a throw you may be able to get away with in high school just because the speed of the high school corners and safeties isn't quite what it's at. And even at the D2 level isn't what it's at. But he's going to have to learn he can't make the lazy throws across the field like that in the Mountain East Conference, and especially when he joins the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Yeah, that throw clearly, from our vantage point and watching it come out of his hand.
You and I were sitting next to them. We went, oh.
Yeah, that defensive back, I'm not sure if it was a safety or an outside linebacker. Either way, read it and
had perfect closing speed, hit it. You would have thought he was a receiver. He hit it in stride, and that was at, the 20-yard line, 25-yard line?
Right, yeah, it wasn't long.
He waltzed into the end zone. It didn't take long.
That's the thing. When you look at this final score, and some people may go, well, that was a closer score than I might have anticipated, even though 41-24 is not close.
The defense gave up a touchdown late in the game,
where basically with the big lead, they, complete a pass underneath. We're going to tackle you inbounds, let the clock run. That game finished very quickly.
Yeah.
And so, they gave up a touchdown drive just because of that. They gave the field goal very late, similar situation.
And then really got truly beat once.
And that was a 75-yard touchdown pass where the receiver...
First play of a drive, and they just said, all right, we're going to try to beat them quick, and they did.
And they did. And then the other comes off the pick six. So, when you look at it, this was a real solid effort all the way around for these Rams.
It was a solid effort, and it was a extremely big improvement from what was in week 1. You and I got a chance to talk with, or actually, when it came to the coaches, I got a chance to talk to. So who do we want to hear from? We want to hear from the big guy who got his first collegiate win as a head coach, Wrnr McCook, new head coach of the Shepherd University Rams.
Got to start at the top.
You got to start at the top.
Yeah.
And so here is head coach Wrnr McCook after the game. I got it started in the post game, just talking with him about what it means to get the first win for him as a collegiate head coach.
Feels pretty awesome, against a rival opponent here on our home crowd. A great atmosphere. Pretty proud of our football team, how they bounced back after a tough loss on the road. Man, it all came together today. We've got corrections we have to make, but really proud of our team and how we were able to spread around and do some good things.
Let's start with the offense. You guys ran the ball a lot better than you did last week. Again, that's a little bit because of the score, but how did you assess your running game today?
I thought we had some ups and downs. It was kind of like a roller coaster. We had some really good moments, and I thought some really bad moments. Looking forward to getting into the tape and really making sure it goes right.
Tyson Bagent looked better this week than he did last week, except for that one pick that he kind of just lobbed up there. Yeah. How did you see the progression, and how did the bye week help with the progression of your freshman quarterback?
That whole room works really hard. So our whole football team works hard, but I thought Tyson did a great job. He's just got a lot of poise, and I think that's pretty awesome. His poise and his work ethic help him be who he is.
I know you haven't looked at the film yet, but what's going to be big going into practice this week?
Correcting our mistakes and getting better. We'll be in a routine now without the bye week. So as we kind of move forward over the next week, our kids will be in a routine. We want to take care of our injuries, our bumps, our bruises, and get better each week as we go.
Your first win as a collegiate coach coming against a historic rival in Glenville. Does that make it any more special? Is a win right now?
It is always special. It's a great one that it's home in front of our home crowd. And I've been a part of some heartbreaking losses to Glenville. So it was a nice win for us. I have a tremendous amount of respect for that coaching staff and how they prepare their team to play and how hard they play.
Coach, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Head coach Wrnr McCook, you could tell he was, I don't want to say relieved, but you could tell it meant a lot to him to get that first collegiate win as a head coach under his belt, especially after coming out. I mean, the first game that he takes the helm and they lose at Notre Dame. I'm sure a lot of people have some question marks about him right out of the get-go or right out of the gate. But you could just tell he was genuinely happy to get that win. But also, you could tell he liked everybody coming to pat him on the back and saying, "Hey, Coach, congratulations!" And having Coach Cater there,
Yes.
and you and I were standing next to each other when they finally got to talk to each other after that win. So it was a cool moment to see the next era of the Shepherd Ram football team. Kind of, I don't want to say kick off because it kicked off 2 weeks ago, but we're really kind of get that first step moving in the right direction.
Yeah, Bob Haley was there as well, former defensive coordinator. Is
that who you were talking to
That's
after
who I
the
was
game? I
talking
meant to
to,
ask
yeah.
you that during the game.
Yeah.
You said coach, so I figured he was a coordinator at some point.
It was good to see him, and then to see he and Coach Cater together. And we even offered. We said, look, we're going to have to get you guys on the show at some point and call it the old ball coach segment, where we can get those two in to just kind of hash out college football for us, because they've both been around the game for a long time, and I'm sure have some great war stories together.
And was it me, or did Coach Cater seem a tad bit more relaxed after the game when we saw him?
Yeah, but just talking to him, it was an awkward feeling for him,
Well, you
It's
and I were talking before the game and whether he would even be there or not.
Right.
And then we get in there and Russell Goodacre sitting in front of us goes, I saw he was down at the Gridiron Club. So I wondered if he would even come.
Yeah, I figured he would be there.
I figured he would come back for homecoming. I didn't think he would be there for the first game.
Well, got a chance to talk with his wife, Bonnie, who was on the program right at the end of the announcement, that he would be retiring. Remember, they joined us together, which it was just a great show.
That was a fun night.
Yeah, and we talked with her down at the Berkeley County Youth Fair when we saw her, and I got the impression then that, they will
he was still going to be
there.
around the program.
Yeah, they'll be there together with an opportunity to see how the Rams do. And it was good to see a number of former Rams who,
great to see Miles,
have had a chance to play on the next level. And Miles Humphrey was there, who's on the practice squad with the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, they played Thursday night, so that gave him a chance to be there. Billy Brown was there, who had been on the practice squad at Philadelphia.
And he apparently today or Sunday, I guess it wasn't Sunday because he wouldn't have gone on a game day, so I'm guessing today was getting on a plane to go out to Oakland.
Okay.
And apparently he had Oakland interested in him, and also the Carolina Panthers were showing a little bit of interest. So still hopeful that maybe Billy Brown could be on a practice squad or even a roster.
Yeah, you watched him down on the sidelines and looked at his size and his, his hands, his ability to catch the football. I would like to think he's going to still get an opportunity somewhere.
He's just such a hybrid guy.
That's it.
And he's a tweener.
Miles fits in that same category.
A lot of guys at the D2 level fit in that category. That's why they weren't necessarily Division I, because they weren't the proper size to play the position they should have been playing at the D1 level, but also were a little bit too small to play a different position or too big to play a different position.
Or not quite quick enough. Because if you're in one position, you got to be faster. In another, you maybe have to be stronger. And so it's that tough little spot to find yourself in. But these guys are working hard, and hopefully that opportunity will present itself. So big win for the Rams, big win for head coach Ernie McCook, and now a chance to look forward to what comes next on the road at West Virginia State. Interesting scores. Before we take a break, I know when we come back, we'll hear from the defensive coordinator, Josh Klein, get his take on how well that defense played after a struggle, no other way to say it, in week one. But before we get to that, following the scores in this Mountain East Conference on Saturday, Fairmont State, they fell behind 17-0 against West Virginia Wesleyan, came back and tied it, took the lead, ultimately fell behind again, regained the lead, and I actually heard the tail end of that one when I got home on the computer as they kicked a 46-yard field goal on the final play of the game to get a win at West Virginia Wesleyan. The Bobcats are middle of the road to bottom.
Does it surprise you?
Of the MEC.
The Mountain East is like this every single year. Does it really surprise you all that much?
That one did. I just didn't, I looking at what we saw from Fairmont last year and the returning players that they had coming back and the
a win's a win, though. They're still undefeated.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But it was extremely close. And Notre Dame, while they maintained what looked like about a 10-point lead through much of the game as we were keeping tabs through our phones and the D2Football.com scoreboard and the Mountain East Conference website, in the end, it was West Virginia State that took the lead. And in the fourth quarter, I believe it was about 5 minutes left when Notre Dame finally gets what proved to be the game-winning touchdown in another 2-point decision, 33-31. So,
that makes this weekend a little interesting, depending on how well West Virginia State really played or whether Notre Dame wasn't looking too hot.
And we'll just keep an eye on it because it shows you right now any team has the ability to beat another team in this conference as these teams, rise to the occasion to play the big boys, if you will, in the league. And Shepherd gets that all the time. Now, West Virginia State hasn't beaten Shepherd since
1980.
Just stop right there. 1980.
That's what I said.
1980.
I knew it had been a while.
I was in middle school in 1980. And I know you weren't even here yet.
I wasn't a thought yet.
So it's been a while. Let's make it one more year.
Yeah.
All right, we'll hear from Josh Klein, the defensive coordinator for the Shepherd Rams, when we come back with more Miller Time.
Have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Call the CPAP hotline now. 800-451-5205. 800-451-5205. That's 800-451-5205. Copays and deductibles apply. Supplies are replaced in accordance with Medicare guidelines.
Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and David.
I'm going to do a terrific show today, and I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
And I recognize the political atmosphere we have in America today. We got wonderful talk shows like you and Dave.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a new commercial now.
We like ourselves, don't we? Look at that face. We love ourselves.
I mean it, guys. You bring in both sides.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me right now. You like me.
Thank goodness for your show. They're hearing both sides.
Doug, good to see you again. It's always fun to be here, Rob.
I know you meant that, too.
I do. I like you guys. I think you all have a great talk radio, and it's always, I've always enjoyed my time here.
Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and David. What did you listen to last week?
Come out and enjoy a morning of motivational life lessons and great food in the Stag Brunch with Rocky Blyer, run by the Mountain State Apple Harvest Festival on Friday morning, October 19th at the Warehouse on 411 Auburn Street in Martinsburg, West Virginia. A meet and greet will take place at 9:30 a.m., followed by brunch at 10 a.m. Hear inspirational stories from Blyer from his time in the NFL and in the Vietnam War, showing how everyone can accomplish great things in life. To purchase tickets in advance, you must be 21 years or older. Tickets are $55 each, which includes brunch and 2 cocktails. For $1,500, you can be an event sponsor, getting you 6 tickets seated with Mr. Blyer, signage at the event, and recognition in the official festival program. Being a table sponsor for $400 includes 8 tickets at a reserved table and signage at the event. To purchase tickets, go to msahf.com or purchase them at Flowers Unlimited. For more information, contact the chair of the festival, Mike Hornby, at mike@aroundthepanhandle.com or call 304-851-7461.
concert or anything, but I
Were
do
you walking
remember.
around with a boombox on your shoulder and
when
parachute pants? And
when I heard you begin to play that, I couldn't help but think of Ryan Fitzpatrick after the Bucs win over the weekend against Philadelphia.
When he put all Deshaun Jackson's clothes on. And
came in to...
And Deshaun Jackson walks in without a shirt on and wearing gym shorts.
And Fitzpatrick
The first
says,
question was fine. So how much of that is actually yours, Fitz? The chest hair.
The chest hair. Yeah, it was hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. And then, of course, he's got the sunglasses on and the bling, the
gold chain.
Oh, yeah. And what are they?
He kind of looked like Conor McGregor.
And that's what one of the articles that I saw online pointed out. Who is this Conor McGregor? But the best part was then they asked him, a serious question, and he's talking about we just got to remain humble. We've got to, keep working hard. And the reporters are laughing as he's answering a more serious question just because you can't look at him and not laugh. And, okay. It was fun. It was absolutely fun to see him do that. So
we'll get into some of those Bucs stats and NFL stats in the second half of this
hour
because we haven't talked any NFL yet. I have not yelled at the Redskins yet.
I was trying to give you a chance.
You were trying to butter me up a little bit so I'd be
bit.
Okay and not go off, but I'm going to go off. Don't worry.
Make sure you turn your mic down just a little bit.
They deserve it. I'm going to try not to hit the table, but
man,
I already have issues with that mic.
But
so.
Okay, see, this though is the very reason why you need to follow my lead.
No, you're jumping back. You are jumping back on the Bucs bandwagon.
No, not yet.
Not yet, but you want to.
Not even. I haven't.
If Fitzpatrick keeps the starting job when Jameis comes back, you will get drawn back in. I'm calling that right now because you will have regained faith in the coaching staff and the front office.
I will pay attention. Obviously, I'm a sports fan and I like football, so I'm paying attention. But I'm not living or dying. If they would have lost yesterday to Philadelphia, I would not have the same reaction that you are having right now as a Redskins fan. And part of that, I think, is just age. Because at your age, I would have had that same reaction. But as I'm getting older, as I'm falling less in love with the NFL, it's there. I'll enjoy it to a degree, but I'm not getting so wrapped up in it. It might do you some good, big fella, so that you're not as upset. Because the Redskins are going to let you down again this year, I promise.
Never fails. Never fails. All right, we'll talk about that the second half hour. Let's get back to Shepherd University football. They didn't let you or I down this weekend. The defense really didn't let us down.
No, I thought they looked very good. Juwan Neal's pick on that first
drive set the tone.
It did, absolutely. And that
Pooch
was
Island.
Yeah, you went to high school with him.
I did.
So and that was a series where the defense played well, and then the quarterback and wide receiver clearly weren't on the same page, but Neal was in the perfect spot on that receiver to be able to make that pick. And then Shepherd drove that down the field, took a 7-0 lead, and that set the tone. Glenville State did finish with about 319 yards, but
they moved the ball pretty well. Shepherd was playing bend, don't break.
Right.
Which is still kind of strange because usually Shepherd is hey, we're not going to bend or break.
Yeah.
We're going to break you. But the first couple games, I don't know if it's the youth. I don't know if it's the overall size because the defensive line, the defensive line isn't that big this year. Neither line, offensive or defense, is overly big this year. So I don't know if it's just the different style because of the size they have. But the first two games, I think Coach Klein has adapted a little bit. Maybe I guarantee he doesn't want to adapt, but maybe doesn't have too much of a choice. They're playing more of kind of a cushion, bend, don't break mentality rather than, hey, we're going to blitz 8 every time and we're going to get there because we're Shepherd. I just don't think they have that size right now.
Well, let's hear from the D coordinator himself as you got a chance to talk with him.
We did. Got a chance to talk after the game and, again, got started with him about his thoughts on the game and the comparison between Game 1 and Game 2.
Just excited. Our kids played hard, and it's great to get the first win. So we're pretty ecstatic. We played really well in the first half, and we just got tired in the second half. So we'll get that fixed next week. But just extremely excited for these kids.
How big was the pick on the first defensive drive by Juwan Neal?
I think it set the tone. I mean, Juwan's our leader, our captain, and he goes up and makes a big play and picks it off and sets the tone for the defense. Got them fired up, and they understood, hey, we can be great.
How much do you think the bye week played a part in how well your defense came out in that first half?
Well, it definitely helped. It gave us a chance to get healthy from the first week and some camp injuries, and then it definitely they figured it out. They got trained up, and they figured out what's acceptable, what's not after a first loss, and I feel like they've responded very well to it.
I know still some film to look at, but what are the things you're going to work on this week for going into next week?
Well, I know West Virginia State is a tough team, so much improved from the old days when I played. But we're excited to take that challenge on. But we got to tighten up our run defense every single day and make sure we stop the run first and make them one-dimensional. And we're going to get these guys trained up and conditioned and ready to roll again next Saturday.
I know you talked to me. They're running back a transfer from Florida State. How impressed were you with how your run defense was today?
I was happy. I know we didn't perform the first week, and everyone got upset, knew that wasn't the Shepherd standard, and they lived up to the standard today and got after it and made sure he wasn't going to get loose.
I know this is a rivalry for you. How nice is it to beat Glenville in the home opener?
It's great. Anytime we can beat these guys, I'm a happy guy. I know from back when I played, I know they won it in '97, and then we won it in '98, '99. So it goes all the way back there for me when my first few years. So just extremely thrilled, and I know we'll have a lot to talk about with the alumni and everything.
Coach, congratulations. Talk to you next week.
Thank you.
You get the sense in the background of the players and family and fans down on the field that
they enjoyed it.
Yeah, the excitement level for beating Glenville State was there.
It was, and I think as you'll hear from DeJuan Neal either tomorrow or Wednesday about how one of the things he said, and DeJuan not an overly talkative guy, but one of the things he did say was that they had to go out and win it for Coach Klein. So. And knowing Coach Klein, I think he definitely tried to instill that last week in practice.
I've told you before, there's that span of 18 years where for 14 of them, whoever won this one went on to win a conference championship. And so a big win for Shepherd, and now West Virginia State in the wings. We'll hear from Tyson Bagent hopefully tomorrow, and named the Mountain East Conference Offensive Player of the Week, by the way. And we'll hear from Dylan Brewer, a wide receiver who caught a touchdown pass from Tyson Bagent, which is kind of unique and interesting in that both went to Martinsburg High School, and yet last year Dylan Brewer wasn't with the Shepherd program, but took a year and was at Martinsburg and actually helped out a little bit with the coaching staff and was on the field a lot and working with the Tyson Bagent. And now here they are together playing at Shepherd. So a Martinsburg to Martinsburg connection on a 47-yard touchdown pass in the early part of the third quarter that helped to make it 27-0 at that point. We'll hear from both of them about that. Kind of special connection and catch. One more note on that game. Ryan Feist recorded his 12th career 100-yard receiving game and moved into second place on the Ram receiving yards list, passing a former Bulldog in Jason Durting. And Feist,
can I take a guess at who's at first on that list?
Go ahead.
I think it's the 81 kid, Billy Brown.
Man, you are on it. Yeah, no doubt.
He only holds every receiving record.
Yes.
I figured it's either him or Wayne Wilson that holds the majority of them. So,
isn't it fascinating though to look at the difference between Billy Brown and Ryan Feist?
Yeah.
1-2 on the all-time list.
Well, one you could go Billy. Okay, I'm going to toss it up, and he's 6 inches bigger than anybody covering him, so he's just going to catch it wherever. And then Feist, it's the elusiveness.
Yes.
Which you and I were talking about this, and not that I don't want to call Feist a wimp. He was never a wimp or anything on the field. But you and I noticed the game on Saturday, he doesn't go down easy anymore.
Not at all.
The first, I don't want to say season, the first probably half of the season where he played a lot, he would catch it, and I don't want to say get scared, but he would catch it, and the first person that touched him, he would usually go down. And I think he's realized and gotten stronger and realized that he can use his legs and use the muscle he's gained lifting in the offseason. For a guy his size, he's got a lot of fight in him.
Oh, he is tough as nails.
Yeah.
And we saw that on Saturday as well, because he took a shot where his helmet came off in the midst of the tackle and immediately went to the sideline where they were taking care of a cut across the bottom of his chin that took him several plays in that series before they were finally able to get that cleaned up, straightened up, and I don't know if they had to stitch it up or not, but
probably just the liquid skin.
Yeah.
That glue they put in cuts that just seals it till they can stitch it.
Tape over top of it, and he was right back out there again. So,
and there is nothing more intimidating than lining up across from a guy who's got blood dripping down his face in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he's ready to play.
Yeah.
Speaking of being ready, or maybe not so ready, the Washington Redskins yesterday.
All right, I got a whole break to get
Matt's
in my anger mode.
Gather himself and talk about it when we come back with more Miller Time.
CBS News special report. A public hearing will be held a week from today to review the sexual misconduct allegation against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. He categorically denies sexually assaulting a young woman when they were in high school. Kavanaugh says he looks forward to clearing his name. President Trump is standing by his nominee.
He is somebody very special. At the same time, we want to go through a process. We want to make sure everything is perfect, everything is just right. I wish the Democrats could have done this a lot sooner because they had this information for many months.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer agrees with the need to delay a vote.
There's an issue of credibility here. You have two people with diametrically opposed views as to what happened. And this is not just an argument for its own sake. It's for nomination to the Supreme Court.
CBS News special report, I'm Pam Coulter.
Local forecast. Weatherman Bob Kukin.
It's been a pretty decent soaking of rain for Monday so far. We are not done yet. More showers, thunder showers overnight, some steady downpours at times. Temperatures near 70 degrees for the low at daybreak. It'll be raining tomorrow morning too. Maybe a couple of thunder showers through the midday. And then later in the afternoon, the rain starts to taper off. You see a high around 80. Sunny and 82 Wednesday. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
You're at a red light. Sometimes it seems like they never change. You wish you could magically turn that red light green. I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. I can't help you with the street lights, but I can help you if you happen to have red lights at home. Red lights at home are even more frustrating than red lights on the street. No matter what you do or say, she gives you the red light. Is it possible to change that red light to green? I have incredible news. Unlike red lights on the street, you really can turn red lights at home into green. Put our light-changing gifts to the test. Stop in at Bechtel Jewelers. In minutes, we'll send you on your way with a little box that has a light-changing surprise for her inside. A beautiful diamond ring, earrings with her favorite gems will help you pick the perfect gift. And when she sees her gift sparkling up at her, well, those red lights at home turn to green. Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South, Inwood, will help you turn red lights into green.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Well, it is now official. Carson Wentz cleared for contact, will start the team's Week 3 game, Eagles against the Colts. Eagles also said that Mike Wallace, a fractured fibula, he's going to be out for a while. Other ridiculously major NFL news today, the Browns, they did trade away wide receiver Josh Gordon to the Patriots for a conditional 5th-round pick. 8:15 Eastern, it is Monday Night Football. Seahawks and the Bears will get it going. Redskins have inked Rashad Harriman, formerly of the Ravens. And ESPN's Adam Schefter reports LaShawn McCoy has cracked rib cartilage. He's questionable for this weekend. On the diamond tonight, 12 total games. AP Top 25, still all about Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State and Oklahoma are 4 and 5. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
We're talking with former Berkeley County Commission President Bill Stubblefield.
Tom, good question. There is zone in the county, but it's in 3 very small geographic areas. Probably 3 or 4% of the county is zoned.
Tom, the 3 specific areas are the property to the left of Bill's place, the property to the right of Bill's place, and the property behind Bill's place. And that would be the Potomac River. Those are the 3 areas you can't develop in this county.
Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and David. What did you listen to last week?
We welcome you back into the final half hour of today's Miller Time, leading up to the Dana Holgerson Show, coming your way from 7 to 9 tonight. If you're watching us on TV 10 on the cable, Comcast cable in Berkeley and Jefferson counties at the 7 o'clock hour, you'll get a replay of this morning's Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and Dave. Although Rob wasn't in this morning, had the morning off.
So it was Matt and Dave.
So you get stuck looking at this face for another 2 hours. Although I tried to keep mine off the screen as much as possible.
You did. I noticed that.
We had David to be the main host and plenty of guests in this morning. So check that out. And be sure to tune in for Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and Dave on TV 10 weekday mornings between 8 and 10 a.m. live. And you can catch Rob in the mornings as well from 6 to 8, where you can see him as well as some advertisements while listening to his voice and all that he does with the information block from 6 to 8 a.m. in the mornings. All right.
The morning fuel. Isn't that what it's called? Isn't there technically a name for that?
Yeah, technically, but I don't know that it's ever been promoted as such, really. You know, we haven't put it out there with a name, so to speak. All right.
I feel like it should happen. Everything else has a name.
We have to turn our attention to the Redskins. Turn your mic down just a little bit, because as you're getting heated and you're going to yell, and we want our listeners to still be able to understand. I read the text message that I received from Jason Colrick because the Colts are his favorite team.
Yeah, I watched the game with him yesterday.
And, yes, you guys got together. Same thing you and I are planning to do when your Redskins travel to Tampa to face my Bucks later in the year.
If the Bucks beat the Redskins and I'm watching the game with you, I'm never watching a game with an opposing fan again. Can I just say that?
That's okay.
Because it'll be 0 for 2. Actually, 0 for a lot.
I was going to say, it's never happened before?
It has. I remember a couple years ago, I took one of my buddies who's a Panthers fan to the Redskins-Panthers game, and the Panthers beat the snot out of the Redskins.
He didn't rub it in, did he?
No. Why would he do that?
Jason's not going to rub it in either.
I can't imagine he would rub it in at all.
All he said was, Redskins stink, and then the second message, you should have seen him yesterday.
I wasn't happy.
So you didn't hold it in very well yesterday?
I tried to. I did actually. I think if I would have been by myself or with family, it would have been.
See, there was a reason you were with Jason.
Yeah,
you needed that presence.
Yeah, but now it's all going to come out. I was back in football mode. I was over at my girlfriend's house after the Colricks yesterday, and I was there, and I walked in, and Kelsey could just tell I was just mad at the world. And she goes, well, it's football season again. The Redskins lost, and Matt's mad at the world, so it's going to turn into an every other Sunday thing.
Well, answer my question now on the air, because at about 2:31 yesterday afternoon, I sent you a text as well and simply said, did they send out the 2017 Washington Redskins during introductions? Because it looked totally opposite of what they look like in Week 1 out in Arizona.
It was awful. The I don't know what happened to the offensive line between Week 1 and 2. They were non-existent against the Colts. And nothing against the Colts front seven. I don't think they're all that scary talented. I think they're a average to above average defensive line in front seven. They did little stunts at the line of scrimmage. It wasn't anything made. They would switch a gap or have guys crisscross gaps. It wasn't anything. But the Redskins came out and looked like they had never seen anybody do anything but come straight at them from across the line of scrimmage. Could not run the leading rusher yesterday was Jamison Crowder, and he finished with 2 rushes, 29 yards, and one of them was the Redskins' first offensive play of the game, and that was a 25-yard end around.
Yeah, I heard that one.
25-yard end around in the very first offensive play of the game, and the leading rusher was Jamison Crowder, who finished with 29 yards on 2 rushes. Adrian Peterson, 11 yards, 11 carries, rushes. 20 yards. His long was 14. So the remaining 10 carries, he netted 6 yards. This is a guy that almost ran for 100 against what I think is a better defense in the Arizona Cardinals. The Redskins took a 180 yesterday. The play calling and game plan were atrocious. And I am really vanilla to Jay Gruden. I have no reason to absolutely dislike him because he's been a 500 coach. It's not like there's been back-to-back-to-back 4-12 seasons. He does enough to keep his job, but doesn't do the extra. He's won one division title, and that was when the NFC East was really bad, and the Redskins won it at 9-7. But his ability to not change a game plan within a game when it's not working is atrocious. And his play calling is awful. Obviously, their game plan, and it was pretty obvious from somebody who had no idea what their game plan was during practice going into the game against the Colts, that they wanted to beat the Colts deep. That was going to be they were going to expose their secondary because they saw something they could expose. That didn't work. The Colts adjusted to it, and it took 3.5 quarters for the Redskins to go, oh, hey, or for Jay Gruden to finally go, oh, hey, maybe we should try shorter passes and not 5 to 7 step drops and waiting for 20 to 30-yard passes over the middle to open up. Because they're not, and Alex Smith is getting flushed, and or the runs we're doing, which every run they did except for about 2 was to the right yesterday. They ran once to the left in the second half, and I looked at Jason and went, that's the first time other than the Jameson Crowder end around that I remember them running to the left side. It was so much so that I noticed that. You never notice that during a game, how often they're running to each side. I noticed that yesterday sitting on the couch. A fan should never sit back in their head and go, they haven't ran to the left side all that much. And, of course, it showed. Chris Thompson is your leading receiver again. The use of the Redskins receivers so far, even in the win against Arizona, the receivers haven't done a whole lot. Paul Richardson has 8 receptions. Okay, that's nice. Chris Thompson is still your leading receiver. That's not okay, and that's not going to win you a whole lot of ball games. That is a good weapon to have out of the backfield. He should not be your leading receiver by 65 yards and almost 15 completions or receptions. It shouldn't happen, and Jay Gruden needs to figure out how to adjust a game plan, if not in the game, at halftime. Because they still came out in the second half and looked flat.
Does Gruden call the plays as opposed to offensive coordinator?
Yes.
Okay.
He took that responsibility over halfway through last year. And the play calling was just the Redskins the last couple years had been famous for getting into the red zone and running 3 fades. Yesterday, they get to within 3rd and 4 inside the 15. 3rd and 4. That is the ultimate quick slant pitch out to Chris Thompson, have him beat around the edge. What do? Throw a flat fade right into the corner of the end zone when a touchdown could get them within striking distance. Who calls a fade on 3rd and 4th, 15? That is a 1st and 10 play, and then you can rebound after that.
Yes.
That is not a 3rd and 4 play when you're inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, get the first down, keep the
Jay Gruden has been an offensive coordinator and a head coach long enough to know that you don't make that call on 3rd and 4. The running game was non-existent. You look at the Redskins, and it's the Redskins. I get it. I've been a fan my entire life. Nothing changes. I shouldn't get this mad week after week, but I do. And I'm not giving up on this team by any stretch of the imagination. It just befuddles me. Yes, that is a word, by the way.
I know it well.
That you can come out and look as good as they did offensively and defensively against the Arizona Cardinals.
On the road.
And then come your home opener, which I'm not sure how much that matters. We'll get into that in a little bit. And just come out completely flat as can be against a Colts team that has improved from last year, but I think is pretty even par, if not a little bit below the talent level of the Arizona Cardinals. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, I think we have somebody calling in. So hold on real quick.
All right, let's see if it's Jason maybe wanting to rub the little salt in the wound there as a Colts fan.
Welcome into Miller Time.
How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What's up, Matt? It was good to see you guys on Saturday.
Russell, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? So yeah, I'm watching your thing right now, and my little input is, Jay Gruden is like Marvin Lewis.
And where did he come from? Where did Jay Gruden come from?
Cincinnati. There you go.
Where he coached under Marvin Lewis, the most mediocre head coach of all time, who's been at the. Can you name me anybody in any other sport, Matt or Russell, who has done nothing and kept the job so long?
Ernie Grunfeld with the Wizards.
That's front office, so yeah.
I mean, but still.
But maybe I'm just looking at, maybe I shouldn't have expected so much after 1 week. But to me, you play that well after 1 week, and then there's just such a big drop. It wasn't like they played a little worse than they did in week 1. They played 120 times worse than they did in week 1. And I think that's what bothers me the most. If they would have come out in week 1 and looked this bad, and then come out in week 2 and looked this bad, okay, maybe this is a Redskin team that isn't going to be as good as people expected this year. Still a 7-9, 8-8 team, I think. But, maybe it was the fact that they came out and looked better in week 1 than a lot of people were expecting, and then in week just absolutely laid an egg.
If I were you, I would talk to people in Vegas and say not to have them be favorites because they played awful when they're favorite.
Well, I asked if it was the 2017 team that came out, because go back to last year. They looked like they could beat anyone in the league when they played the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, and even the next game against the Kansas City Chiefs, they lost that game against the Chiefs, but were in the game the entire time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Had a chance.
Yeah.
And then as the season progressed, they got progressively worse.
All right, I want to play you guys a clip from Jay Gruden's press conference after the game real quick, and then I'll continue to keep going on Jay Gruden.
Hats off to them. First of all, credit Coach Wright. Congratulate him on his first win. They came in here, outplayed us both sides of the ball, special teams. So got some tough situations, but we didn't handle the movement, again. And, in the running game or the passing game, we couldn't get any runs going. We had a lot of negative plays in the game, which is unfortunate. And in the passing game, we couldn't handle a lot of their stunts.
Why? If I'm in the media or I'm a player or a fan, I don't want the drunk guy sitting in section 417 of FedEx Field could have gone up to a podium and said, yeah, we didn't handle the run too well. We didn't handle their movement too well up front. Jay Gruden has got to come out and say, you know what? We didn't come out too well. We didn't practice that. Somebody's got to take responsibility other than Jay Gruden. Oh, you got to give them credit. They did something, and we just couldn't adjust. Oh, okay. To me, that's saying, okay, you didn't properly execute the game plan or didn't properly train going into this week.
Yeah, you weren't prepared.
Yeah, you were. To me, that 20-second clip was Jay Gruden saying, we were not prepared at all for what we were going to see this week.
Yeah, the Grudens overall are not good at press conferences this year. His brother John's having a bad one in Oakland because, he's always like, yeah, we need more pass rush because, he's ready to play on Max. So it's like, yeah.
Is this a game the defense played well enough to win?
Yes. I think DJ Wrnr had he was the bright spot in the game. He had 2 interceptions. I thought they could have done a little bit better guarding T.Y. Hilton because really T.Y. Hilton's the only weapon that Andrew Luck had. But still, you kept T.Y. Hilton under 10 receptions and under 100 yards. The one touchdown where he was wide open, that was a pick play where there's going to be some miscommunication on the goal. It shouldn't happen, but every now and again you're going to get that miscommunication on the goal line. But the defense, when you give up 21 points in the NFL, most of the time, in this day's NFL at least, I think 21 points doesn't necessarily mean you should win every game you give up 21, but you should at least be competitive in games you give up 21. And that was the first game in, I think the Redskins were tied with the longest streak in the NFL with consecutive games with a touchdown. I think it was at 53 or 54 last week, and they played Arizona. So now that's snapped. It was as bad as the Redskins had been. They held the record for most consecutive games with a touchdown that was active up until this week. But, yeah, I think the defense played well enough to win the game. It was just a game that everybody came out flat.
Lack of touchdowns plaguing this team right now. You were telling me earlier off mic, when you look even at the win at Arizona, when they scored those touchdowns, all came in one quarter.
Yeah, so 7 of the 8 quarters this year for Washington Redskin football, they have not scored a touchdown. 21 points, 3 touchdowns were scored in the second quarter of that game against Arizona. So it's been 6 consecutive quarters, and 7 out of 8 quarters of football, the Redskins have not scored a touchdown so far this year. So,
Marvin, my question for you, Matt, is what was your thoughts on the overall fan atmosphere at FedEx Field from a TV standpoint? It looks pretty empty.
You mean the 32,000 Redskins fans that were there and the 20,000 Colt fans? 57,000 people at FedEx Field yesterday. That stadium holds 82,000. That is 21,000 people less than were at the home opener last year. 21,000 people. And the all-time low for a home opener was 76,000 people And that happened twice, once in the 2010s and once in the early 2000s. At one point in the Gibbs era Part 2, they had 3 consecutive seasons where they had 90,000 people at the home opener. And yesterday, there was 57,000. I guarantee you there was at least 15, I'm thinking closer to 20,000 Colt fans in the stadium.
And it's going to be interesting with the Packers coming in this weekend,
because the Packers travel extremely well.
It could be more Packer fans.
It could be a Steeler-esque game, where the last couple times the Steelers have come to town, it's been majority Steelers fans. So, yeah, just the Redskins played a bad game. I'm hoping they can bounce back. It'll be interesting to see how they bounce back against a very good Packer team where Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing. I know that was one of the big questions going into this past weekend, but he played good enough for the Packers to win. They tied. It blows my mind. But it'll be interesting to see how the Redskins rebound because they need to.
Yeah, well, you look at their schedule and look at games before this season started and circle them up and go, yeah, this should be a win. This one's going to be tough. I would have given them the win over the Colts before I'd have given them the win over the Packers. So now that you lose to the Colts, you got to find a way to come back and beat the Packers.
I will say the Redskins do have a pretty good record against the Packers recently. So, all right, Russ, appreciate the call in.
So long.
Talk to you later, buddy.
Good talking to you. Thanks.
That was Russell Goodacre. Anybody who's listening to the show knows Russ calls in and co-hosts from time to time. He was calling courtesy of the WVU Medicine Berkeley Medical Center talk line. All right, we got to get in our last break of the show. Then when we come back, you want to talk some Steelers football?
Yeah, I was going to say.
They didn't do too well over the weekend either.
No. 0-1-1 now? What a weird
There are 4
record.
teams now that have a tie in their record. We've only played 2 weeks of football. How's the NFL not adjust this in a bargaining agreement?
Well, maybe they'll address it in the next bargaining agreement.
I'm trying to calm down. I'm playing some All You Need Is Love, Beatles music coming out. Try to calm down on this break.
I hope it works.
All right, we'll be back with more Miller Time and finish up today's Monday edition of Miller Time. Next, you're listening to Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
Talk Radio WRNR, in partnership with Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, is proud to announce a new way of celebrating the best things in your life with your life announcements. But we need your help. When good things happen to you, we want to hear about it and let others in on it as well. Send us your birthdays and newborn birth announcements, engagements, weddings, wedding anniversaries. We want to hear about your family, your business, your church, or your organization's best moments and accomplishments. Welcome your new neighbors or pat your favorite teacher or coach on the back. Send us your attaboys and your attagirls. To send us your life announcements, email them to us at promo@talkradiowrnr.com or mail them to Talk Radio WRNR, P.O. Box 709, Martinsburg 25402, or go to www.talkradiowrnr.com for more details. Include as much information as you can, who's extending the wishes, and a way to contact you. We'll broadcast these announcements 3 times per day. It's your life announcements from Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies and Talk Radio WRNR.
Okay, house or condo?
Definitely a house.
3 bedrooms or 4?
3.
Traditional or contemporary?
Contemporary.
So on the golf course or next to the lake?
Oh, both?
Both.
Choosing the perfect house involves some tough choices. Where to find it? That choice is easy. Homesandland.com. There are thousands of listings from the area's top realtors. With a few clicks, you can search by bedrooms, by price, and choose just the features you want. And in Homes and Land magazine, you'll find full-color photos and detailed property descriptions. It's the perfect way to find your next home. For a free copy, call 1-800-277-7800 or visit homesandland.com. Homes and Land, connecting home buyers and sellers for over 30 years.
Talk to your realtor today about homes and land of the Eastern Panhandle or phone 304-579-8510.
Brent Greenback for Panhandle Printing and Design with the story of Billy Bennington. Billy wanted a new best friend, so he brought home a puppy. He didn't know his new best friend would keep him up at night. Now Spot isn't a puppy anymore. After almost a year of sleepless nights, Billy doesn't think of Spot as his best friend. That's when he turned to this intrepid reporter for Panhandle Printing and Design to help. I know if you need help with everything from design to production of stationery, envelopes, business cards, invitations, vinyl signs, signs, banners, vehicle wrap, and more, your one-stop print shop, Panhandle Printing and Design, can help. They have something for everyone at Panhandle Printing and Design at 124 North Maple Avenue in Martinsburg. Call 304-267-7400, and you can even find them online, too. Here you go, Spot. Fetch. Well, Billy might have a few more sleepless nights, but don't stay up nights worrying about your printing needs. Depend on Panhandle Printing and Design.
When you or a loved one needs medical attention, but the thought of spending several hours in a waiting room makes you feel even worse, did you know at WVU Medicine Urgent Care Centers you can get in line before you leave the house? WVU Urgent Care's online scheduling allows you to wait more comfortably at home or wherever is convenient. Simply visit our website at uhpurgentcare.com and select an arrival time. WVU Medicine Urgent Care with 3 convenient locations in Charlestown, Inwood, and now open in Spring Mills.
Surfing is the only life, the only way for me now. Surf.
See, there you go, man. You need to take up surfing. It'll calm you down. You're out on the ocean.
Tried once and broke my nose.
All right, never mind that.
Had the leash come off, and the board picked up in the next wave and smacked me across the face. Blacked out, ended up on the beach. It was not fun.
All right, well, sorry to
that went a different way than you were expecting.
Sorry to bring back the bad memories that you had repressed for all those years.
Switching over here.
All right, hey, before we jump into the Pittsburgh Steelers, tough one for the Cleveland Browns. Falling to the Saints.
Been a tough couple years for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, what'd you just tell me the record is?
The last 50 years, which is the last
50 years?
Or I'm sorry, 50 games. It seems like the last 50 years, doesn't it?
Yeah, for
the
Browns
last
fans?
50 games, which is the last 3 seasons plus the 2 games this season. They are 4-45-1.
Yeah, but that tie was just last week. Yes! So they're on the right track.
It could have been 46, but you know what? It's not.
And they only lost to the Saints 21-18. That's
and it was a late rally by the Saints, too.
And that's the Saints team that put up 40 against the Bucs a week earlier at home. So that defense did well for the Browns, but Zane Gonzalez had a rough day, missed 2 PATs, 2 field goal attempts, and has now been replaced as the Browns went ahead and waived him. Reportedly, he was dealing with a little bit of a groin injury, and so
I'm sure he was.
No love for the kickers. The fun part is this. I just saw this during the break. Social media is good and bad, you know?
It's funny most of the time at best, even when it's bad.
Yeah, there's very good stuff that comes through social media, and you know some big news events have been only able to be shared from repressive governments as a result and so forth. But then you get fans like the Browns who are upset with their kicker, so they send out mean tweets. Well, they sent him to the wrong Zane Gonzalez. So there's a nice article that has a few of those tweets, and the gentleman chimes back, guys, I'm just a college baseball coach. Relax. So it wasn't the same Zane Gonzalez. How do you get a hold of these guys' Twitter account addresses
just
and stuff anyway?
Zane
Just
Gonzalez.
type it in and then hope you got the right one. See?
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, Steelers, they fall to Kansas City.
Are you nervous if you're a Steelers fan?
I think so.
Sorry to interrupt you. The score
No,
was
42-37. Yeah, I mean, they fell behind big early, rallied, but then couldn't hang on.
And what happened to the Steelers' defense? Steelers been known for their defense since the 70s.
Steel curtain.
And Patrick Mahomes, the guy who's had 3 NFL starts, threw for 6 touchdowns, 326 yards, and went 23 for 28, becomes the quickest player to throw 10 touchdowns in his career. Only took him 3 games. Through 3 games, Peyton Manning and Drew Brees only had 9 touchdowns.
So Mahomes off to a good start. Pittsburgh not. Now 0-1-1, and they go to Tampa on Monday night of next week. 1 week from today.
Your Buccaneers.
Bucks
You
beat
going
Philadelphia.
to find somewhere to watch that game?
Yeah, I don't know. I might. Maybe we'll have to get together after this program and hang out and watch at least
and
a
the
portion of
Steelers,
it.
no running game.
Yeah.
James Conner, 8 carries, 17 yards.
Wasn't enough.
17 yards usually isn't enough to win a football game, especially when the other team is scoring 6 touchdowns.
All right, we got to wrap it up. That does it for Miller Time on this Monday evening. Stay tuned. The Dana Holgerson Show is coming up next. You're listening to Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
The following is a presentation of IMG, America.